Hi, welcome to Outsmart Your Guitar. I'm glad you could join us. Today is another edition of Early Help in Your Soloing Abilities. This one is a subject that you may already be familiar with. If you're not, this is going to really be an eye-opener because it's going to help you start to think in 3 dimensions. And that's really important when you're soloing on the guitar. So the subject is playing behind the root. What does that actually mean? Well, we're going to get into that right now. So let's do it, and be sure to like and subscribe to Outsmart Your Guitar along the way. So when I talk about playing behind the root, again, we're talking about, if you're in A, playing lower on the fretboard, even though your key is A. So normally you'll be soloing right here. But you've got all this space down here that you can take advantage of. In the 4th position of, say, the pentatonic minor scale, you have a bunch of open strings. And then you've got the 5th position here. In addition to the 1st position. So now you have a little bit of extra instead of just going up the fretboard. Instead of doing that, you also have the ability to now go back behind the root. Using a little Aeolian here. Right? You have that ability to do this. And this gives you more freedom, more liberty, more expression. So again, when you move up to B, as we mentioned before, now you have 6 frets plus the open string to play. 4th position here. Little bit of the 3rd position. 5th position. Little Aeolian. Back to 1st position. And it keeps going back to, when we talk about being in the key of C, right? 4th position, 3rd position. Some open strings now. Pretty cool, using a little bit of that 3rd position there. 4th position. And back to the root. So you have the freedom now to really take advantage of what's going on behind the root, lower on the fretboard. Now, I'm going to be playing in the key of D here, and I'm going to give you a progression to play with. So let's move to that. Okay, so real straightforward. We're going to be using D minor and C, A sharp, and A minor. There's your whole set of 4 chords. So now it's very syncopated in a way. Now notice that the C comes on the end of 1. So it's 1, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. All right? So so forth. So take a minute, learn that, put it into your looper, and we'll work with this progression. Before you get started, I want you to pull out your diagram of all 5 positions of the pentatonic minor scale. We're in the key of D, but position 1 is position 1 is position 1, right? So that's always going to be the same. Now I want you to go to the 5th position and go back 2 frets to, well, 8, right? And that's the 5th position. So you can make a little note, say in red or something, to give you the fret position that each position starts on your diagram. Okay, now you go back to the 5th fret, which is 3 frets back from the 5th position for the 4th position of the scale. Okay, so now you go back 2 frets more to the 3rd fret, and this is the 3rd position. Then you go back 2 more frets, and this is the 2nd position. Now, I'm going to play the 2nd position up here first. Whoops. Now you'll notice on the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings, those are all 12th fret notes. So those are going to be open notes. So open, open, open. Right? So now you have the understanding, 3 open strings. And that's your 2nd position, and then back to the 1st position up here at 10. So take a few minutes before we go forward and review that you are familiar enough with all 5 positions to get this together. Make sure you just spend an extra few minutes getting it clear in your head where each of the positions are in the key of D. All right? Just want to drop in here and remind you that down in the description is a link to patreon.com/outsmartyourguitar. Go on over there, join for free, and gain access to a whole bunch of free lessons and the written material that accompanies them. You can then become a full patron by subscribing at one of 3 levels, and you'll gain access to lessons that are not featured here, expanded versions of lessons that are featured here, and all written material where it's included. So go on over, check it out, become a patron. All right, let's get back to the lesson. All right, you've got your looper set up. You're familiar with all 5 positions in the key of D. And you're ready to go. So basically, I'm going to demonstrate what I want you to do. Now you can play up high too. This further opens up the whole fretboard, but I want you to focus on the 5th, 4th, 3rd, and even the 2nd position behind the root. All right, so here's kind of what you're going for. 3, 4, oh, wait a minute. As you can see, I got a little carried away, but that's the idea. And that's exactly what I want you to do. Run up and down, go through the various positions of the scale to really get them solidified. This is just part and parcel to becoming better all around. But understanding what lurks behind the first position, no matter where you are, is actually the thing that matters most, because you don't want to limit your potentials and you don't want to limit where you can play on the fretboard. You'll notice I played in spots on the fretboard that maybe you're not comfortable playing. Play in those places, absolutely. There's hidden gems there, cool notes there in the lower strings, in positions where you may not normally play. Like in the fourth position, playing on those bottom two strings can really give you some interesting stuff, and you want to take advantage of that. You'll notice I also put in a couple of notes from the Aeolian mode as well to add a little extra color. And so the pentatonic minor was my framework scale, but the Aeolian was the scale I borrowed from for color. Get a little bit of extra tension note going on there, right? And I threw some bad notes in there too along the way, just for good measure, because we all kind of hit bad notes from time to time, and that's okay, because you're learning and you're growing and figuring things out. And in figuring things out, that's where the mistakes happen. And in some respects, pay attention to those mistakes. You may find you're discovering something really cool when you make a mistake and go, oh my goodness, what did I just do? I need to do that again. Now, one of the things I really recommend you do is get this kind of a recorder and record things like this, so that when you're working stuff out and you do something really cool, you can listen back and learn from yourself. How about that? You're going to teach yourself something because you made a mistake. This sounded great. And so a little recording device is a good idea. All right? So now, your turn. All right, you have your homework cut out for you, right? So here's the takeaway. This is what I'm trying to help you do to gain a little more three-dimensional viewing of your fretboard. We're used to looking at the fretboard in a linear fashion in ascending order. Well, what I'm doing here is having you look at the fretboard and your scale in reverse order, with the first position being the highest position, and then fifth, fourth, third, and second position being below that, so that you learn to work backwards, so that you challenge your knowledge of the 5 positions of the scale and fill in the blanks where you stumble. Okay, I'm kind of not all that comfortable with the 5th position, or the 3rd position, or the 2nd position, because there's parts of the 2nd position and the 3rd position you don't play. You may not even use the 5th position, but for tiny little bits on the 5th and 6th string, or the 1st and 2nd string, as transitions to get from the 4th to the 1st position above it. And that's what I want you to overcome, is the reluctance to work in positions or parts of the positions that you don't play. There's a lot of stuff in those unplayed notes in each of those positions, and you need to get really comfortable being able to use them to your advantage, because there's a lot of cool licks there. All right? So that's the 3 dimensions. Getting your understanding, whether ascending or descending up and down the fretboard, what position follows what position, what the pattern is, where the notes are, etc. Right? The other thing I want you to do, don't neglect to pick one of these up. There's a lot of them used on eBay. This is the Tascam D05. I'm not an endorsee of or endorser. I'm not paid. This is my own thing. I'm telling you, get one of these. Whether you get this or you get a Zoom or some other company's recorder, get one of these. You just need a stereo one. You don't need one of the 4-track ones. This will work. Record your ideas, record your practice, so that if you play something really cool, you got it. And you can go back and listen to it and learn from yourself, something that you created, and now you can teach it to yourself and make sure that you get it into your stuff that you're able to do at will because you learned it from yourself and memorized it, right? So this is good for band rehearsal. It's good for all kinds of stuff, ideas. I use this for ideas. And so get one of these too, all right? Okay, thank you again for spending the time here to learn what I have to teach. I hope this lesson has been beneficial and informative. Now, get to work on it. In the meantime, until next time, you take care. And when I get the next video up, we'll see you there.